We're taking this extremely seriously, and here's why. There is always the possibility of aftershocks, and I'll get to that in a moment, but we have not felt the magnitude of an earthquake of this level since about 2011. Actually, I was in Washington, D.C. at the time, and my apartment when I was in Congress was severely damaged. We felt those effects all the way up to Buffalo, New York. So these are wide-scale possibilities. This is one of the largest earthquakes on the East Coast occur in the last century. So I immediately directed my emergency management team, the second we received word of this, to start doing damage assessments, any life in danger, and finding out whether there's any bridges or tunnels that are compromised. And so that was the first reaction. You'll be hearing from the team that has been working on that. I also immediately spoke to Governor Phil Murphy to offer any assistance and to find out what is happening in his state, which again was the epicenter. Our teams have been in constant communication with the mayor of New York. We also spoke to the MTA to ensure the integrity, the structural integrity of the subway system, the Port Authority, and I want to announce that right now JFK and Newark airports are on full ground stops to assess any potential for after effects, and we've been in contact with the utility companies to make sure that the gas and electric services continue. I will report that Amtrak and MTA are on full schedule, no disruption there at this time. Been in communication with the White House. They reached out to us. The Deputy of Homeland Security Advisor, who's actually with President Biden right now surveying the damage in Baltimore, called us, and I believe they felt the effects even in Baltimore. So it's been a very unsettling day to say the least. But the White House offered any assistance. Senator Schumer reached out, offered any assistance. So right now, it's most important that we have our structural teams out there, our engineering teams, surveying our bridges, our roads, any area there could be a fault line that is not easily detectable, to make sure that passengers on our rails as well as our commuters are safe. Assessing all state roads, Commissioner Dominguez is taking lead on that, making sure our state roads are safe. Major transmission lines and dams, because you don't always see the effects of a small crack that actually could develop into a real major problem. And we're also encouraging all the municipalities throughout the state of New York to assess for any structural integrity concerns. At this point, heading into an hour and a half after the effects, we've not identified any life-threatening situations, but we are certainly asking our local law enforcement and emergency services teams to be on guard for that as well. But again, we are going to be reviewing all potentially vulnerable infrastructure sites throughout the state of New York. That is critically important in the aftermath of an event like this. Now, again, I have a few safety tips because New Yorkers are not accustomed to having earthquakes in our state, and everyone should continue to take this seriously. If there is an aftershock, people are encouraged to drop and to cover and to hold on. Drop to the floor, cover your neck, and hold on to something that is sturdy. Take caution near any damaged buildings. Again, we don't have reports of damaged buildings at this time. It is very early in the assessment process, but if there is an after effect, please stay away from buildings, that, especially our high rises. If you hear shifting or any noises, unusual noises, leave your home. Go outside. You are safer there than in a building that could be crumbling around you. Inspect your home for damage. Check walls, floors, doors, windows, staircases. And if you see any damage at all, you may need to relocate while the event is going on. Again, check your own gas lines and water lines to make sure that your family is safe. So stay connected and informed. I will say this, especially with all the national news about what happened in Taiwan with that deadly earthquake just this past week. I think there's a high level of anxiety around earthquakes. The magnitude, which Catherine Garcia and Commissioner Bray will explain, that was a 7.4 magnitude in Taiwan. Again, we are 4.8, and they'll explain the difference. But that's why we're going to continue to take this very seriously and make sure that we continue to update all New Yorkers. So Catherine Garcia, our head of state operations, you'll hear from first, and then Commissioner Jackie Bray, head of Homeland Security.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. I want to reiterate that we have no reports of damage at this time, and that immediately all of the infrastructure agencies activated their policies and procedures to deal with this, because while highly unusual in the state of New York, we do actually have fault lines. This was significantly bigger than ones that are typically felt in the state of New York or occur and actually are not felt. That is because earthquakes happen on a logarithmic scale, which means that a 3.0 is 10 times worse than a 2.0. So a 4.0 is 10 times easier than a 5.0. So every one of those makes a significant difference in what you will experience and what the damage could be. In addition, we are also tracking whether or not there's any increase in hospitalizations, as well as whether or not there's any increase in vehicle accidents that has not been reported at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Bray?
Not much to add. The governor and Director Garcia covered it. I would say we did see an overloading of cell circuits in the New York City area immediately after the event. We've been in touch with AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Their networks are clear now and back up and working, and we have opened the state's Emergency Operations Center. We're at a level 3 to monitor impacts and reports that come in. We've seen one gas leak in Rockland County, but other than that, there don't seem yet to be major infrastructure impacts, but we are in touch with the counties. We'll stay in touch with the counties all day. Thank you.
All right, let's do some on-topic questions.
Governor, has there been any contact with the Indian Point facility in Westchester and any concerns there?
That's part of our analysis of all critically important infrastructure. So yes, the communication has gone out, correct?
Yeah, we're in constant touch with both that facility and our other facilities. There's no damage reported at Indian Point. We wouldn't expect damage at this time, and we're in touch with Westchester, and we'll stay in touch with Westchester.
Governor, can you just say what you were doing at the time that it hit, and what you felt and what was going on?
No surprise to anybody here in the Capitol. I was meeting with my senior team, talking about their late night working on the budget, and we were talking about how we're going to move the budget forward today. So literally sat in the room next door. People felt different degrees of movement in the room, surprising, and all of a sudden everybody's cell phones start lighting up and describing what it was. So we were literally right here working on the budget and getting a budget done that includes a once-in-a-lifetime housing package may be the only excitement event we expected this week. So this was rather unanticipated. You cannot plan for this. There's no early warnings. There's no weather service that can tell you an earthquake is imminent, and that's why everybody was caught off guard. But fortunately, here in the state of New York, we are masters of disasters. We know how to handle this. From unexpected snowstorm just a couple days ago, everybody's anticipating massive crowds for another celestial event on Monday with the total eclipse pathway going through large parts of our state. So my point is, we're always ready. We have planning in place for all of our teams activate instantaneously, and I feel very comfortable about that. But again, these are emerging situations. It could be over, but also there could be another effect, and we have to be prepared for that and warn New Yorkers to be particularly vigilant in the days following an original earthquake.
Governor, I assume your team has analyzed the aftershock forecast. What do they show? What should we anticipate?
Commissioner Bray, the former head of one of the heads of the National Weather Service. Is this something you can predict?
No, we don't
predict earthquakes.
We don't predict. The aftershocks aren't predictable, and so obviously we'll monitor USGS's information, but we're not looking at, these aren't forecastable events.
Governor, one more
on the ground stop at JFK and the airports. Is there a timeline for how that gets?
We just spoke to them. Do they have a timeline? None of that? Okay, on the ground.
We don't have a timeline yet. What they're doing is really confirming that the air traffic control towers are safe to operate in. So as soon as we know, we'll make sure that that's public information.
Which airports were those again? I'm sorry.
JFK and Newark.
Not LaGuardia?
Not LaGuardia.
Why not LaGuardia?
Why not LaGuardia? Because they've redone their. They have a more recent. I'll let Catherine explain.
We're getting more information, but we suspect it is because they were renovated more recently and meet higher standards.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.